Yo, you won't believe what I got. Brand new racing rig from P1 Sim Sports. Triple screens, full cockpit. This thing is insane.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Moving right along on our Midwest Modified Series, we have made it to Fairbury. We've run all the way from Huset's, and now this week we're at Fairbury, and it could not be more different from where we were last week in quite an epic race event, and we could not be more excited. Big thanks and happy to be here with my excellent broadcast team with the No Limit Racing League. Big thanks to Alex Gagnon, our excellent producer and analyst. And my name is Scott Shive. I'll be joining you as your host. And our cameras, of course, are always provided by Dougie Beard. So, Alex, what are you thinking of tonight? Because we've got a short run until we get started into the heats.
Yeah, it should be a ton of fun here tonight. Fairbury, definitely one of those tracks that it's going to be an action track for sure. Got some high banking. It's a pretty short track, only a quarter mile. This place is going to absolutely rip tonight. I've been seeing some of the laps people have been putting down in practices. They've been down under 13 seconds. I mean, these things are going to go fast if this thing stays green.
These drivers are going to go extremely fast tonight. They will be ripping it. And the real question is, what will be the line? What would be the preferred groove right now? I'm already seeing a lot of rubber on the entry into the corners, so that might prove that your line might already be moving up. I can already see the cushion being pushed up. Take a look at our points right now. Dustin Hennigan, 2 weeks in a row that he has not won. Of course, it was Braden Avila, and then last week, I believe, I got to remember who it was.
47 of Joshua Dyer, who shot himself from all the way down at the bottom of the standings into the top 20 off that big win. He was outside the top 25 going into last week, and now is very much, maybe not necessarily in the title hunt, but he's very much in the mix once again.
He definitely is. Definitely could be in the mix for a top 10 in the overall standings, but he currently sits 17th. James Murphy had another good run, a podium for him. Daryl Bass, we saw him start from the rear after an EOL from some driving, how it was a few races before, but he was able to break back into the top 10, and it was sad news for the top 5 driver, Braden Avila, who started in 8th and was running in 8th toward the end of the race, but got caught in a second to last lap incident that relegated him to an outside of the top 15 finish. So Braden Avila will be having some points to make up here this weekend, or this race. I say weekend. It could be the weekend of the sim, but it is the weekday for you and I, Alex, and it's the weekday for all these real in-world drivers, and Braden Avila will be loving to make up some points tonight, and there's no better way to do that than a win. But of course, you got to make it through the heats in LCQ first.
That you do. Is we'll get ready here for that first one. We'll give a quick heads up now. The paints tonight look a little funny. Not sure why they're bugging, but for some folks it worked perfectly fine. For some folks it did not, so just something to keep in mind here. But we are currently in our first heat here tonight, and we got 8 drivers ready to rock and roll here, Scott.
8 drivers ready to rock and roll. I just mentioned James Murphy sitting second overall in the points. He'll be starting on row number 1. And Daryl Bass, who also sits top 5 in the points, will be on the outside of row number 1. Then is the 13 of Ethan Patterson alongside the 05 of Connor Murphy. Then it is the 2 of Nicholas Moley, coming off another excellent finish last week at Huset's. Then it is your 2-time winner of Dustin Hennigan and current points leader in row number 3, and then row number 4, your final row, Mason Newmiller and Connor Matson. Matson, a new name to the game here in the Dirt UMP for the Midwest Modified Series presented by P1 Sim Sports. Alex, this is a stacked heat. We've talked about it before, and heat number 1 is the stacked heat here today at Fairbury. Let's get going. Green flag in the air from Fairbury.
And they're going to run down the back straightaway here. Murphy's got the advantage here in the early going of things. Looks like Daryl Bass, though, going to try to find his way on the inside here in 1 and 2. Going down the backstretch, not quite there yet, but took a look there last time around.
Bass has been known to be aggressive. He's been known that at times to take it when the hole is open. And he's trying to find that hole right now on the 65 of James Murphy. Murphy looking for the first win here in the Midwest Modified Series. He has been fairly close for a couple of times finishing on the podium, but he has not been able to make it to the checkered flag first in our feature race. Of course, like we mentioned, you got to make it to that feature race. Of course, let's jump back. We'll look at Dustin Hennigan. He's under attack from the 57 new driver of Connor Matson. Matson looking to make a name for himself, joining in past halfway through the series.
Yeah, and in the battle here with the guy to make a name for yourself against, Hennigan currently top of the points. Not really making any forward progress here through the first half of the heat. He's got some work to do if he's going to automatically advance to the feature.
He will have some work to do indeed. So Matson in the 57, still sitting in 7th behind your current points leader of 16 of Dustin Hennigan. Hennigan looking to attack Ethan Patterson, who had quite a wild ride the week before. Hennigan throws the slider down on the inside, and you can see him clear for that over Patterson. Look at Daryl Bass, though, up front. He's now ripping the cushion, trying to find any way he can around Connor Murphy. But Murphy, with 1 to go and coming to the line, it's going to be close,
Whoa.
but it's going to be Murphy by a nose. 0.087 for Murphy over Bass. And wow, that was pretty close to the end of the line there, Alex.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a quick look at that replay. Easier said than done. Never mind. The heats here end so quickly. we gave it a go, but the moment you cut back, that's all she wrote. But you saw it there, folks. Just how fast just how close that finish was. James Murphy, less than 600ths of a second clear Daryl Bass at the line. If that battle is how we're going to be treated here tonight, you got to imagine we're going to be in for a real treat come the feature race here tonight. If we're going to be getting to finish quite like that.
So Murphy, 2 weeks in a row, is finishing the top 2 in his heat race. Last week at Huset's, it was a 2nd place, and this week it is, of course, a win for heat race number 1. But now it is time for heat race number 2, and it's Cody McDonald sitting on row 1 alongside the 7 of Dalton Kane. Then it's another new driver of Ivan Godwin. Godwin. Let's go with that. And, of course, Noah Smith on the 58 to his outside. Number 3, Mason Setting, sitting in 5th spot at the start of this race. And Cameron Stefanski, after joining last week at Huset's, did not make the start to his heat race or, of course, the LCQ, so he did not make the feature last weekend. And, of course, in row 4, it'll be the 14 of Dakota Proud and the 23 of Ricky Thompson. Ricky Thompson, he had a rough go of it last week, Alex.
That he did. Looking for a big bounce back week here after getting caught up late in last week's event.
16th.
Yeah, looking to put together a better run here. He's made the feature every week he's gone out there, but he's just looking for that one race that really cements him up there. You see McDonald going to get the launch here, and immediately Godwin to the inside, trying to find his way past the 7 of Kane. It's a good little battle here for the 2nd spot between the newcomer and the man who podiumed 2 weeks ago.
Look at Mason Setting. He found great momentum out of turn 4 that time. He's to the inside of Godwin. Not going to have it that time out of turn 2. All the while, it's still McDonald and Kane at the front. 2 laps complete. On to lap number 3. It's a close fight now between Thompson and Stefanski. It's a battle for 5th spot between them. Side by side, just for a moment's instance, Thompson is looking to the inside of the 32, but the 32 is going to shut him down.
Yeah, he continues to take a peek there to the inside. It looks like Kane and Godwin got together. Now Settings are, oh no, boy. Big contact there for Dalton Kane. Take a look here at the replay.
You saw it, contact between Godwin and I believe it was Dalton Kane. Yes, here Dalton Kane in the 7. And it looked like just a slider gone wrong really for Godwin. And I think he wanted to grab momentum there, but I don't think he meant to make contact with the 7 of Kane. And, man, that is going to be frustrating for Dalton Kane. That is going to be heat-ending damage. He will have to go to the LCQ for sure.
Yeah, we'll look at the wide shot here, showing just how much it kind of wadded up the pack, but only Kane is the one who goes around. So could have been worse for the rest of the field, but certainly not what you want to see. If you are the 7 of Dalton Kane, going to make that the journey to try to get the 2nd podium of the year a little bit tougher. Definitely having to go through the LCQ now.
Yeah, Noah Smith also kind of got caught up in that scuffle. He lost 3 spots because of that incident between Godwin and Dalton Kane. So now we'll go to single file restarts. It'll be 5 to go when we come back. Cody McDonald has led all few of the laps that have been run, but Godwin, after the incident, after the contact, he's moved up to 2nd, and he's going to try to look for the lead, but McDonald out and away, and Setting is looking to attack that 2nd position that Godwin holds.
That he is. Looking at the back bumper right now, only a couple laps here to try to make it through. Both of them are in a transfer spot, but they've got to keep an eye out behind them as Thompson and Stefanski getting physical for fourth. That's costing them some time to the pack as Stefanski got a piece of the wall. Going to fall all the way back to seventh. And now Thompson has about a mile or a lap and a half here to try to get up to this top three. Easier said than done.
Thompson, 9/10 of a second back as this time McDonald comes back to take the white flag. It's a battle for P2 between Setting and Godwin, but again, both of those are transfer positions, so it's not a battle for the transfer. Cody McDonald starts up front, leads them all. He'll win heat race number 2. Mason Setting and Ivan Godwin will be your other 2 transfer positions. Ricky Thompson just comes up half a second short in 4th spot.
Yeah, it looked like there was also a little bit of contact there at the end of that heat between, I think it was Dakota Proud and Noah Smith. Curious to see if that'll transfer over into later parts of this event as well. We will now take a look at what I believe is our 3rd and final heat of the night. I'm going to start it off here. That's the 44 of Julian Shanks. Landon Falkenberg rolls off in the 1. Shane Leggett ready to go here in that 20 machine in row 2 with Jaden Freiberger. Michael Boyd going to be rolling off 5th alongside another newcomer in Blake Carl. And Dan McLeod rounds out the 7-car field. So a bit of a fun treat here tonight, Scott. Each heat with one driver that I don't believe we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, a couple newcomers, and it enters in some time of, you don't quite know how they race. So a little, maybe not distrust, but you just, you're maybe going to be a little bit more careful around that driver if you are around them because you have yet to see how they're going to race you. Also want to make a mention, Julian Shanks and Landon Falkenberg, your front row starters, they finished 19th and 21st 1 week ago at Huset's. So talk about redemption. These 2 drivers, if they make it to the feature, although their goal is to make it to the feature, but they're really going to be looking for redemption after part of probably some of the roughest week last week at Huset's. Green flag already out, and Falkenberg not getting the best start, but it is a spinner, and I think that's Jaden Freiberger.
Yeah, that it was. Let's take a look here at the NLR instant replay.
So it was Shanks, or excuse me, it was Freiberger getting a tap, I believe, from Michael Boyd. Boyd, I guess he didn't know they were going to be 3 wide because Falkenberg did not get a great jump there on the initial start. You see Freiberger here checking up, going to the inside, and yep, I got to imagine Michael Boyd had no idea they were 3 wide.
Looks like some heavy contact there for Blake Carl as well. That's not going to be a great start here for the 22. As you see, he gets caught up at the tail end of this, up onto the fence as well.
Nowhere to go, just a sitting duck, really. So to be a mid-pack shuffle early on in the going, you can see that left front shaking for Blake Carl. Got to imagine that is not going to drive to the best of the ability. Now, to be fair, that is the least important tire of all 4 that are on the ground. So he might actually be able to survive with that.
Yeah, it'll be easier said than done, but like if there is one tire that's going to be off the ground more than the others, it's going to be that left front here tonight if you really just send it in there. Who knows, maybe Blake Carl finds a way to get this thing done with only 3 wheels on the ground as we're back to green. Shank's going to take him to 1 and 2. Oh boy, more contact back there for Carl and Freiberger.
Carl up in the wall now. He is very much off the pace and trying to get a handle on that dirt UMP. It might be an LCQ run that might have to come for the 22 of Blake Carl. And up front, it's a little bit sideways for Shane Leggett. It's going to be a 3-way stack up. 41 of Dan McLeod and Jaden Freiberger. They're all able to keep it together. Good driving from them. And it's going to be Dan McLeod that goes on through to the inside of the 20 of Shane Leggett to take that transfer spot.
Yeah, meanwhile, up front, Landon Falkenberg is putting the pressure on Julian Shanks right now about the halfway mark. Was right on the back bumper through 1 and 2 the last time around. We've got 2 really good battles right now, both for the heat win and for the last transfer spot as Leggett is trying to find a way past McLeod, and Freiberger right in the mix as well.
Freiberger, let's not forget, he started in 4th. He's back 1 spot from where he started, and there is only 2 laps to go when we come back this time, and Dan McLeod is starting to pull away from Shane Leggett. McLeod trying to cement himself early into the feature race and not have to deal with the chaos of an LCQ.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of it. Opened up that gap to about a half a second here through 3 and 4 as they're going to make their way to the last lap of this heat. Julian Shanks has been more or less unchallenged up front, and he is looking good here through 3 and 4.
Julian Shanks has yet to win a heat race. He changes that statistic today. Julian Shanks, winner, heat race number 3. Landon Falkenberg survives as well, stays up front, transfers in along with the 41 of Dan McLeod. So we mentioned it. That's part of the way for redemption so far, automatically transferring into the feature. But again, the feature is a whole nother story, Alex.
Yeah, it really is. This is one of those deals where at this point you're really gonna kind of focus up and make sure you're taking care of business to advance. This should be a fun one. Looks like everyone who we had take the heat actually gridded here tonight, which means we will have a couple of folks going home.
Yeah, that means one person here in this heat race, or excuse me, LCQ number 1 will be going home. 6 will make the transfer, and 1 will be out. You see it there, 12 laps. Top 6 will advance, the rest will go home. And of course, as always with the Midwest Modified Series, it is an open setup, rule book enforced. So these drivers, they've had to make their setups. And let's get through the grid in here in heat LCQ number 1. It's Mason Newmiller starting on pole with Jaden Freeberger to the outside. Then is Dakota Proud, the number 14, starting in third alongside two-time winner Dustin Hennigan. Blake Carl, we just saw him in heat race number 3, had a rough go of it. He'll start 5th in LCQ 1, along with the 32 of Cameron Stefanski in row 3 alongside of him. Final car to start and make the grid is the 05 of Connor Murphy. I really still would love to know if there's any, blood relation between Connor Murphy and James Murphy. Maybe they'll tell us in the chat. Maybe we'll get to know before it comes time to crown a champion, because James Murphy could be fighting for that championship. But right now, all these drivers, they're just trying to make the feature. LCQ1, 12 laps is underway from Fairbury.
And here we go. Newmiller immediately under pressure from Freeberger, who got a good launch, and Hennigan gets all the way up to the wall. He's already worked his way to third.
A reminder to these drivers, they all probably know it, but only it's top 6. So you really, again, at this point, you're fighting for a starting position, but you really, really want to make sure that you do not get any significant damage that could send you to the back. Because again, 7 starters, only 6 will make it. That means someone's going home. As they're making contact, they're not listening to what I said. Jaden Freeberger hard into the outside wall with his right front. Got to imagine that car must have damage for it. Mason Newmiller pushed the 35 up into the wall. And 35 looks to still be driving fine. He's sitting in third for now, but it's Dustin Hennigan ripping the cushion, looking to take the lead away from the 6 of Newmiller.
Yeah, and they're going to be door-to-door there going in the 1. Freeberger really launched it in there, got right up to Newmiller. Got ourselves a really spirited battle right now for that top spot. Hennigan now has it. Newmiller and Freeberger trying to keep pace with the 2-time winner this season.
Look at that, near contact between Newmiller and Freeberger. You got to imagine that Freeberger might call it a little rough with the number 6. As of after what just happened between them as they were fighting for the lead, they got into each other and let Dustin Hennigan go right on through. Good job from Cameron Stefanski so far to make up 2 spots from the start of the LCQ. So he is solidly in a transfer position, but Blake Carl, we mentioned his problems in heat race number 3, but his problems as well in the LCQ. He's currently 6/10 behind the 05 of Connor Murphy, who started shotgun on the field.
Yeah, Murphy up 1 spot, Carl down 2, and starting to lose the field here a little bit, which is going to be a tough break. It's the top 6 will advance out of this, so the odds of making that feature tonight with only a couple laps to go starting to become a little slimmer. So we got some battle in here. Dakota Proud looking to the inside of Stefanski for 4th.
Proud looking inside of Stefanski. This is your closest battle on the racetrack. Again, both these drivers already in a position to advance with 2 to go as they come back to the line next time by.
Yeah, looking to the inside once again. Stefanski had a little bit of trouble getting off at 2. Proud is there as they go into 3 and 4 for the penultimate time.
Proud, great drive. White flag already in the air for the 16 of Dustin Hennigan. We said it last week, but it is a consecutive top 2 finish. In every heat race he has competed in, he will continue that streak. It's 4 heat race wins for that number 16. Wow. Dustin Hennigan just continues to prove how truly strong he is no matter where we go. And let's not forget, when we interviewed him at Huset's after finishing in second, he said that FAIRBURY was his best track.
Yeah, and had a little bit of a tough start here in that initial heat, but went out there and just rolled through for the LCQ.
Excuse me. I was saying LCQ. I was saying heat. I keep forgetting. Thanks for checking me on that, Alex.
Hey, all good. I mean, they essentially, with the field size that we have, serve similar enough purposes. The Heats aren't sending anybody home, but the LCQs are only sending home a couple of folks. That'll be the same case here in this one. One person going home from this heat, I believe, as well. So they serve similar functions as far as setting the feature grid.
Well, and actually, I think that's the first time that we did see Dustin Hennigan in an LCQ at all. So, of course, he was going to go out and try to win it, and he did. Let's get your grid for LCQ number 2. It's Ricky Thompson starting up front alongside the 13 of Ethan Patterson. Then row 2, it'll be Shane Leggett and Noah Smith in the 58. Row 3 will consist of the 50s, 57 of Connor Matson and 55 of Michael Boyd. Your last driver on the starting grid will be the 7 of Dalton Kane. And a reminder again, like we said for LCQ number 1, only 6 will transfer, 1 will go home. So who will be the 6th to make it to the feature race? Let's get it decided. 12 laps lie ahead.
Looks like a good start here for Thompson. Leggett only be under some pressure for that second spot, though. He's already got a mirror full of Patterson, if these cars had mirrors, I guess. You got Patterson right there. You've also got Matson in there. They're all getting together. Oh, Dalton Kane nearly driving up. Oh, boy. Noah Smith hard into the fence. Heavy damage to the 58. That car just stuck. I got to imagine that's going to bring out. No, he's going to get towed, so this thing's going to stay green.
It was a 4 wide for a moment off of turn 2 between Patterson, Boyd, Kane, and Smith, and we'll take another look back at it. You can see a little bit of the end of the action there. Noah Smith absolutely got the worst of it. But right here, Patterson's going to get a little slow, and it's 20 on the outside. It's just a 4-way stack up. I mean, there was no way that was going to work. And Noah Smith truly got the worst of it. He is in the infield now and out of this race. And so he will be your driver that will not end up advancing.
Yeah,
that is a rough go for Noah Smith.
Yeah, it really is. He's also been a staple of the features through the opening half of the season. It'll be a bummer for him to not make the transfer to the feature tonight. Got a good little battle going for second right now, though, between Matson and Leggett. Also can probably throw Patterson into that mix. Looks like the 13 now on the back bumper of the 57 with a few laps to go.
A good run for Connor Matson, showing us a little bit of his skill. Didn't quite make the transfer in his heat race, but showing us decent pace here in LCQ number 2. So we'll see what Matson will have for the rest of the field when it comes time for our 40-lap feature. But this is very different from Huset's. Well, actually, I don't actually say that for the heat race and LCQ portion, because we have yet to see a caution between all 3 heat races and both LCQs so far. And let's not forget, we only saw 1 caution when we came to Huset's. It was at the very beginning, and then we ran 38 laps green. Will we see the trend continue here at FAIRBURY? I'd say so, Alex.
Yeah, especially with Noah Smith being able to tow before the field came back around. That was pretty pivotal as far as keeping this thing clean and green. As you see Patterson now to the inside, takes second place away from Shane Leggett. The 13 on the move, and Matson right there to the inside now, the 20. Leggett might fall from second to fourth in the matter of a lap here.
Matson trying to battle back for that podium position in the LCQ, but it's the white flag. It's already out for Ricky Thompson, who, by the way, is 2 seconds clear of second place. Ricky Thompson dominates in LCQ number 2. Patterson finishes second, and Matson, he does end up finishing in front of Shane Leggett for a top 3 for that 57 machine.
So with that, it's going to take us to our warm-up before the feature here tonight, which allows us to take a quick step away. When we come back, it'll be continued coverage of tonight's Midwest Modified Series event from FAIRBURY. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to have 21 cars ready to rock and roll for 40 laps here for the $25 payout at the end of this one. We'll be back in just a moment.
James Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Yo, you won't believe what I got. Brand new racing rig from P1 Sim Sports. Triple screens, full cockpit. This thing is insane.
Warm-up continues to commence. 30 seconds left for these drivers to get any final track time and prepare for the 40 laps ahead. This is the Midwest Modified Series presented by P1 Sim Sports. And before the feature race gets underway, want to make sure we thank all of our sponsors here at No Limit Racing and allowing them to be able to put on this race and allowing us here at Vspeed to be able to come and present you, the fans, this race. No Coast Customs, Colburn Race Wraps, Featherston Fabrication and Welding, Infamous Raceworks, and of course KD Speed Shops. We could not do any of this without all of the excellent partners here at the No Limit Racing League and putting on this Midwest Modified Series. That is the checkered flag for the warm-up session. And Alex, what are your thoughts and possible ideas going into this feature race? 40 laps lie ahead of these 21 drivers.
Yeah, this should be a fun one. Honestly, the heats have been really encouraging, and the LCQ was really encouraging. because we saw a lot of really good racing, and only really in one of them do I feel like the winner really like checked out, and that was that last LCQ. So I think we're gonna get a really good battle up front. As far as what I would anticipate, I'm hoping at least 40 laps is a long time. We did see the field get strung out, not typically up front, but just in general.
So let's look. Feature race, of course, 40 laps, $25. We've, of course, got our payouts, $25 the winner, 15 to second, and 10 to third. But I want to talk about the drivers starting on pole. And currently, his best finish was last week at Huset's, but he has yet to get that win. It's 2 top 5s for him, and it's 4 top 10s in all 4 of his starts. That's why he's second to Dustin Hennigan in the overall championship standings. But he's starting on pole for the first time. Could this be the best opportunity James Murphy has had for a win? The best is yet to come, and that question will have to be answered later, Alex. It's Cody McDonald starting to his outside in row 1. Then it is Julian Shanks, winner of heat race number 3, starting in 3rd. Daryl Bass sits and starts in 4th to his outside. Then in 5th, it'll be Mason Setting, Landon Falkenberg. 7th and 8th, Nicholas Moley, Ivan Godwin. And 9th and 10th, Dan McLeod, Dustin Hennigan. The rest of your field will roll on through as we prepare.
Yeah, Ricky Thompson, Mason Newmiller, Ethan Patterson, Jaden Freeberger, a lot of the cars who just barely got through their respective LCQs. As we are just about ready to go here, the 40-lap feature underway here at Fairbury.
4 wide already. Oh my goodness, how is this going to work? They make it work out of turn 2.
Some of them did.
Oh, I was going to say, Daryl Bass was looking to take the lead right there before the caution came out, but it was problems in the mid-pack. It was Ivan Godwin who started in 8th, who is already around. And let's take a look back at it, because I was looking at leaders at this time, Alex.
Yeah, they were 5 wide for the lead, but it was the 3 wide for 6th that got out of hand. And then everything stacked up there. Moley, Freeberger, Godwin, looks like Boyd had some issues. I think that's McLeod who's already in the infield there. Take one more look at it here. We'll take a on board here with Moley.
And Hennigan was almost a part of this. He was right behind this. Moley going to have big damage. There you see the 20 coming in. Oh, my.
Let's see if we can take one more look here with Hennigan, who is our current points leader going through this.
Well, let's ride along with him and look at him. Oh, he's right behind this mess. He has a little front end contact with them, but I don't think he has any wheel damage of it. You can see a little nose damage there. The splitter is lifted up on that modified, the Dirt UMP, but I don't think any wheel damage for the 16 of Hennigan.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge break for the 16 if he's trying to pick up win number 3 at a track that he was telling us last week he is really fond of. He's going to cycle up to 6th here because of that, because everyone who got caught up in that initially was directly in front of him. But that damage might be a bit of a damper if he's trying to go up there and battle for the lead if he gets a couple more spots here.
Yeah, and I've got bad news as well. Landon Falkenberg, who made it through in his heat race number 3, he is now 1 lap down. So it's an unlucky streak that continues for the number 1 of Falkenberg. Back green. It is 4 wide once again. Julian Shanks makes a little contact with Setting, but here it is. James Murphy continues to lead over the 28 of Cody McDonald, but look at Hennigan. He is already trying to fight for a podium spot. Daryl Bass pulls a crossover, turns to driver's left. He pulls the slider this time by, and he makes contact with Murphy. He's going for the lead.
I don't know if they actually made contact, but it was incredibly close. They got right up against each other. But Daryl Bass, slick move there, gets him to the point. Cody McDonald trying to get in there. Hennigan's trying to just work his way up on the high side here. Running out of room there with McDonald for 3rd. It is getting physical out here at Fairbury. That seems to be the theme early on.
This is absolutely great. 5 drivers under a blanket fighting for the lead. Mason Setting catches the tire a little bit there as he is in 5th. I have never seen this many dirt cars this close fighting for the lead, even this early off of a restart. They are staying with each other. James Murphy is staying with Daryl Bass. It's shades of black and white of what he saw last week chasing Joshua Dyer, but now he's chasing the 90 of Daryl Bass, who, let's not forget, started in the rear last week at Huset's after getting an EOL. He was set to start on pole, so he's trying to redeem himself this evening.
Yeah, and he did drive up from the back of the field to the top 10. You see some contact there between Murphy and Hennigan for that second spot. Little over-under for Murphy, back to the inside after Hennigan had the spot temporarily. 65 going to go back up to the point, and McDonald and Setting are right there as well to make this a 4-horse race for second. There's a big slider from the 16.
Yeah, Murphy getting caught up with the wall. It's going to relegate him to third. McDonald lost the spot to the 16, but now he's trying to fight back. And Murphy continues to make contact with the outside wall. 2 really seems to be a trouble spot for the 65 here at FAIRBURY. Now he turns drivers left to Cody McDonald. He wants to secure one of those positions back, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. It's going to be a good run for McDonald, and it's going to put the 65 under attack from Setting. As look at this, Julian Shanks trying to hold off some drivers from behind.
Yeah, Newmiller's right there on the back bumper. He's already up a few spots looking for more. How about Connor Matson working the wall as well? He's up 8 spots, maybe looking for a couple more here in that 57. He's gotten a lot better over the night here from the heat to the LCQ, now to the feature.
Matson could be looking for a top 5 on his debut with the Midwest Modified Series. Julian Shanks leaves him the lane out there as we jump back towards the lead. It's a continued battle between those two, Murphy and McDonald. McDonald's holding it on the high side now, but Murphy trying to battle back on the bottom.
Yeah, just about everyone has worked their way up to the fence here by lap 15. And right now, everybody chasing Darrell Bass. Bass got out of Dodge when all those guys were fighting for second, and that lead he's built up has really come in handy as he has put some distance between him and the rest of the field here. That being said, he's going to be running into lap traffic pretty soon. You see Leggett, the last car on the track here, is just exiting turn 4. And there's Darrell Bass now exiting turn 4. Only the front stretch separates him from the back of the field. Lap traffic could become a factor here tonight.
And Shane Leggett, your last car, your last driver on the lead lap. He currently is in 17th, so that leaves 4 drivers off of the lead lap. And there's only 1 driver running the bottom that I have seen, and that is the 14 of Dakota Proud, currently fighting for 8th with Julian Shanks. Shanks, Matson, and Newmiller were both able to get around him. And so Shanks is trying to hold on possibly to a top 10 by the end of this run. 18 laps complete, coming to 19 this next time. So we are nearly halfway already. It was an early caution. Same thing we saw at Huset's. Could we see it green to the end, Alex?
It would be a carbon copy of Huset's if that's the case. And
oh, that's a good term. I love that.
And we currently find ourselves now at this midway point, and the reason we've been watching Dakota Proud here is up 9 spots, but also if you take a look at the telemetry, you can see just how agonizingly slow it is to work the inside of the racetrack here at this quarter mile. Incredibly short way around the racetrack, which saves you a lot of time, but I mean, it's got to be tough as a driver to have to get down below almost 50 miles an hour through these corners trying to work it as he continues to make up ground. Just got past Julian Shanks there for the 8th position. He's up 10 spots from where he started.
Dakota Proud, one of your biggest movers, your biggest mover on the field. Connor Matson next closest behind. He is in, he's moved up 9 spots, but he's currently in 6th. This is a great run for the driver on debut, but it's contact between Proud and Julian Shanks stacked up on the bottom, and it is going to bring out a caution for just a moment as they were sideways in front of the field.
Let's take a look here at the replay. Take one more look here. It's going in the 1 and 2. She Shanks there in the 44. Tried going low and just tangled with the back of them. They were sideways just in front of Stefanski. Looks like everyone was able to get going again. But, yeah, the 44, I think, tried mixing up his line because he saw the 14 was making up time down there, and 2 just got together.
Just sitting in just a little bit too deep. You don't realize sometimes how early you have to let off when entering on the bottom like that when it comes to that slick. Because if you're entering just a little hotter, just like we saw from the 44 of Shanks, you start sliding and just getting in a little too deep, makes contact with Proud. We're riding along with Stefanski, who makes right front contact with the left rear of Julian Shanks. They were able to get back going, but I gotta imagine iRacing thought they were stopped on the track long enough to bring out a caution.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that that was probably the case because with the two cars initially, Shanks and Proud got sideways. I think it may have been fine, but then it was Stefanski coming in. Then you have cars sideways on the racing line which to iRacing's the big no-no, and I think that was ultimately what did it. So just past the halfway mark here. Looks like we're going to be going next time by. It'll be Hennigan and Bass on that front row. Big opportunity for the 16. Now that that gap has been closed in with the caution to try to make something happen here against the 90, you got to imagine Darrell Bass not thrilled to have the field on his back bumper once again.
Definitely not, and definitely not excited to have the 16 of Dustin Hennigan battling with him. Inarguably the strongest driver all season long. Green flag back in the air. We saw it tight, packed. A lot of drivers under a blanket early on off of a restart. Could we see that again? McDonald looking on the inside of Hennigan for second. Slides up. Hennigan going to get a run. But look at Mason Setting. He's making up time in front of them all on the bottom. There's a little contact on the high side between Murphy and McDonald. They slide back. McDonald continuing to lose spots. He's back near outside of the top 10.
Yeah, he lost a lot of ground there. Really tough break for Murphy and for, apologies for McDonald, who's now down the 9th. Had to take a second to figure out where he ended up in the running order. Let Matson capitalize. He's now up to the 4th spot as the top
Look at
3.
Dakota Proud.
Yeah, Dakota Proud. What a drive it's been for the 14. No one's working the bottom like this guy. He's up 12 spots now, and he's looking for more. He's looking to the inside here, the 65.
He is making up time on these drivers. Matson and Murphy, they battle currently for that 4th spot. But as Dakota Proud sitting in 6th, up 12 spots from the start of this race. And Matson is looking to be up 11 spots if he can make this pass stick. But Murphy is not going to go easily into the night. And look at right behind them. It is a absolute course of madness. It is McDonald, it is Newmiller, it is Freeberger, and Dakota Proud. This is great.
It's wild stuff. I want to keep watching that, but we have action up front for the lead between Setting, Hennigan, and Bass. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Hennigan drives it in deep, looking for the slider to take the spot. Caught the wall a little bit. Bass able to get back out in front. Now the 90 setting the point, while this whole time Mason Setting's been working the inside, and just for the slightest of moments was scored as the race leader. It is truly 3 cars battling for it as the caution is back out further on the racetrack. Trying to figure out where it might be. Take a look here, maybe with Julian Shanks.
Oh, I see it at 41.
The 41, Dan McLeod. All right, let's pull up Dan McLeod and take a look here at the old replay.
Dan McLeod, I saw that bright pink and yellow machine of McLeod. Oh, it's doing its thing. It sent you all the way back.
Yeah,
it's being mean to you.
Yeah, it doesn't like me. So apologies for the whiplash there. I'm not entirely sure what happened with that. So let's see if we can find where the 41 is here. Well, that was Dan McLeod for a second. Boy, this replay really just not a fan of me at the moment.
We'll find it. We'll get you the replay of what happened to Dan McLeod in the old 41. He tries to cycle through my timing screen. Here we are.
I'm cutting back.
We're live, at least.
Yeah, we're going to do this temporarily. Apologies for that. I'm not entirely sure what on earth was happening there.
Well,
but we are green.
Dan McLeod got sideways and something happened. But we've got 9 laps left, and I think we're going to be more interested that we can forget what happened to Dan McLeod. Sorry, Dan McLeod. A race is on up front. Darrell Bass, Dustin Hennigan, Mason Setting are at it.
That they are. A battle for the lead right now between the 90 and the 16. Hennigan looking to the inside in the 3 and 4. Nothing going that time around. It's tough to make a pass right now with how much everyone wants to run up against the wall. Hennigan's going to slide it in there. Bass, though, not going to let him up to the fence.
Bass defending with everything that he's got, with all of his might, from one of the best drivers in the field. He's got 2 wins so far through 4 races, but he's been on a 2-race drought from winning in the feature race, and Hennigan would love to get back to victory lane in the Dirt UMP and the Midwest Modified Series, but he's got a driver that's more hungry than ever after starting at the rear of the field last week. And I think he's going to remember that. I think he's remembering that right now, and what was possibly taken away from him at Huset's, he's trying to gain back at Fairbury.
Especially because don't forget, he was the pole sitter last week. He won his heat, was going to be scored on the front row for the feature, and then had to serve that end of line. So he ended up having to go from first to 21st as he holds off another slider there from the 16, a little over-under. So we're down to 4 to go. Mason Setting trying to make it a 3-car battle as well. James Murphy has rallied the 4th, but it's Hennigan and Bass right now up at the front with 2 laps to go. It's all going to come down to this.
What will Hennigan do? What will he do to get back to victory lane? He's thrown sliders time after time, but Darrell Bass has retaliated each time and said, no, 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 you are not going to be able to do that to me. I will pull to driver's left. White flag in the air. Here comes another slider from the 16. He tries to park it on the nose of the Darrell Bass, but Bass is not going to have any of it. Now Setting is attacking Hennigan, but Darrell Bass, he's going to try to slip the gap. He pulls the needle. He wins at Fairbury. What a way to the line.
Holy, what a finish. Less than a quarter second, the gap. Darrell Bass, we got to take another look at that last lap. That was absolutely unreal.
Goodness.
Hold on a moment.
I can't believe the hole was still there.
That was absolutely wild. Let's take a look here. And of course, Darrell Bass is already off my screen here. So let's take a look here with Mason Setting, who gets in on this to make it. Yeah, take a look at this one more time. Shot the gap through the 2 and just barely had enough room. A little bit of contact there with Hennigan. But, man, look at this. I mean, if you're Mason Setting, you got to feel really good till about right there, just before the line.
Yeah, and Setting did everything he needed to do right there. Slid in right with Hennigan. Hennigan tried to throw the slider. Setting wrapped the bottom, but it was just too much momentum for the 90 of Darrell Bass. I'm honestly surprised that maybe Setting didn't try to block the 90. That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought he was going to keep sliding up the track and eventually block the 90 to where he would have had to turn farther left and would have killed his momentum.
I almost wonder if it's a case of Setting thought that he was that Hennigan wasn't going to be all the way up to the wall there, where maybe the 2 of them were going to be side by side, or didn't want to go all the way up there if someone had the run. I'm not entirely sure, but ultimately.
Well, all I can say is it was definitely respectful racing. Obviously, a little contact there between Bass and Hennigan, but something like that you're definitely going to have, especially at a run to the line there out of turn 4, and what ended up being a crazy 3-wide finish. Three cars under a blanket finish, we'll say, and Darrell Bass picks up his first win in the Midwest Modified Series presented by P1 Sim Sports, and he did it with fashion. He showed us what a way that you can finish in second place at Kokomo, and he's shown us what a wild way you can win from Fairbury. We're going to take a quick commercial break and get back to you with the results and interview our top 3 drivers.
Yo, you won't believe what I got. Brand new racing rig from P1 Sim Sports. Triple screens, full cockpit. This thing is insane.
Welcome back to Fairbury Speedway of the completion of the Midwest Modified Series presented by P1 Sim Sports. And what a way it was to take the win for the 90 of Darrell Bass. He finishes atop the charts above the rest. It was Mason Setting pulling a great move on the bottom, but out of 4 just didn't have the momentum. He comes up just short by 0.2 of a second. Hennigan had been fighting. He started way back in the field, made up 7 spots after starting 10th, but was not able to best the 90 of Darrell Bass. And it was James Murphy continues to finish consistently, 3 top 5s in 5 starts. and then it was Connor Matson rounding out the top 5 in his debut, finishing in that top 5 spot. And it was Jaden Freeberger in 6th, Cody McDonald in 7th, Dakota Proud gains 10 positions on the day. It was a 3-way tie for the biggest mover between Matson, Proud, and your final driver, one of your final drivers in the top 10, Dalton Kane. Mason Newmiller in the 6th rounded out that top 10.
We'll take a look here at the back half of your results. Cameron Stefanski will finish 11th here tonight. Julian Shanks will be 12th, just ahead of Connor Murphy and Ethan Patterson. Dan McLeod will finish 15th, 2 laps down after that earlier incident. Shane Leggett, Landon Falkenberg caught up in some earlier stuff as well, with Michael Boyd, Ivan Godwin, Nicholas Moley, and Ricky Thompson rounding out the 21-car field here tonight. And with that, I do believe it's time to talk to your race winner who just passed Tech. It is Daryl Bass in the number 90 machine.
The last time we were talking to Daryl Bass, it was about a crazy finish at Kokomo, him finishing all 4 tires off the ground, and it was another crazy, wild finish here from Fairbury, but it wasn't a finish for second this time. It was a finish for the win. Daryl, let's get right into the thick of it. Did you think that hole was going to stay open there coming to the line?
No, I did not. And the bad thing is that was one of my drivers, Mason, and we were sitting in the call together, and he didn't even say he was throwing a slider. I thought it was just me and Dustin. So I was just going to run the cut down, and I committed, and I was just hoping he didn't keep sliding up. So I didn't mean to give Dustin a right rear right there. I talked to him, apologized to him. I was just shooting the gap.
What does it feel like to get this win? It was obviously a rougher race last week for you at Huset's. You were set to start on pole, obviously had the EOL from everything that happened at Kokomo. You eventually made it all the way back up to 8th, but still, you got to think about what could have been. Does this win at Fairbury maybe lessen that hurt?
Yeah, I feel like we got robbed at Huset's. They gave me a quote-unquote EOL for rough driving. I got fenced, and then last week the same guy fenced one of my drivers, and there was no penalty issued this week for that driver. So, I kind of feel like we got one robbed there, and then to have such a big lead early in the race before the first caution. I'm a rhythm driver, and, we can't wall tap, so I was doing everything I could to stay out of the wall, and I got in that rhythm, but once that caution came out, just kind of broke my rhythm. So I'd say I kind of got lucky tonight.
Definitely could have gotten a little lucky. And you're currently sitting in 3rd overall in the standings behind Hennigan and Murphy. And there's only 3 races left to go. Do you think you can still be in that battle for a possible championship bid?
Probably not. Dustin's probably got it sealed up. I think I missed the week. And, obviously, I think we came back to 8th last week at Houston, something like that, 8th, 9th, which kind of hurt us again in points. It's unfortunate, but Hennigan's having solid runs up front, as is James, and sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Just lady luck hadn't been on our side,
Well, anyone you'd like to thank tonight, Daryl?
James, man, that was 100% James on the setup. We don't have a heat feature setup. We just run the same setup all night. We had 1, 2, 3. I think we had 4 or 5 guys inside the top 10 on our stuff. So, man, James works his butt off. Jared, Thaddeus, Boasty, we're doing really good this year, and it's all because of those guys and their dedication.
Well, congratulations to you, man. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you, bud.
So Daryl Bass, first win of the season. Felt like he might have got a little bit robbed last week at Huset's, but this win is definitely going to make him feel a little bit better. Let's pull in the second place driver, Mason Setting. And Mason Setting, I think he's deafened right now, so I don't know if we're going to be able to talk. There we go. He is back, and he's going to get to talk to Alex.
Hey there, Mason. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
I tell you what, you certainly made things fun there at the end. We were coming down, and for a while there, we thought it was going to be a 2-horse race between Bass and Hennigan. And then in the last couple laps, you're on the scene, and going into 3 and 4, it was anybody's guess who was going to come out of that in one piece. We heard a little bit about from Daryl about how the 3 and 4 situation went, not realizing that you were also in the mix. What were you seeing through your point of view here on those closing couple laps?
I was in third. I felt like James was on my tail, so I had to put the whip to her, and at the same time I was just riding, seeing what would happen, and then I saw there was 2 laps to go, and I didn't want to push it too hard because I like good racing, but I knew it was go time, so I had a good run going in on the final lap, going into 3 and 4. I was planning on just running the bottom, but I threw her in a little too hard, and I slid up way too much, and I kind of get left Daryl some room, but not really. I honestly made it a little too tight, but I would like to first, like, I saw the lap 1 when we came out of that 2 corner 5 wide. I felt like that was pretty sick.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie. And then what's crazy is that y'all survived the 5 wide, and it was the 3 wide behind you that ended up bringing up that first caution.
Yeah.
But so we had a couple of cautions tonight that kind of broke up the pace of things just a little bit. Did you feel like you were gonna have better success tonight if this thing stayed green the whole way, or were you able to take advantage of those couple of restarts to gain some track position?
It depended. Well, it really didn't really depend, but I felt like the cautions kind of helped me out because, I was going probably a little too hard, and then we got to reel back in with that caution, and because like before the caution, I started reeling people in, so I was like, I think I can maybe pass them on the caution, so, which I passed a couple people, which helped me, and then I went, and then I just stayed patient, which I don't know what happened to James. It kind of sucks. I really wanted to race him, which he's my teammate. Shout out to him. And then I noticed I went into third, and I'm like, I'm getting paid here. I'm getting points. I'm just gonna ride. And then that happened, which I felt bad for Hennigan, and I didn't really mean to squeeze Daryl there, but yeah.
Well, it was certainly quite the show, especially coming to the checkered Mason. Anyone you'd like to shout out here tonight on the runner-up finish?
Yeah, I would like to shout out Dwayne at Down South Graphics. He does really cool car pictures. Jason McManus for the wraps, and Twisted, Thaddeus, Jared, Daryl, James, and pretty much the whole Twisted crew out there. Good job to you guys.
Alrighty, well, Mason, thank you for joining us up here in the booth. Congrats on the runner-up finish, and we will catch you next week. There's only 3 races left after this one. This season's just flying by, but we'll catch you then.
All right, thank you.
That is Mason Setting, your second place finisher here tonight. And Scott, I believe that will bring us to our current and probably still points leader, Dustin Hennigan, who's coming up on his second straight third place finish.
His second straight third place finish, and for a driver who was really, really excited about this week here at FAIRBURY being one of his best tracks. It's 2 spots short in what was a really close battle at the end. Dustin, what were your thoughts there on the end? What more did you need to get past Daryl Bass?
I really think gear. The gear kind of sucked. It's just kind of keeping momentum. So when I would throw a slider, I knew when he was on the top, he was going to get a run off of me, and I was just hoping maybe somebody was behind me throwing one or running the middle to make him check up. But felt good. Got in that wreck on lap 1. They wrecked in front of me, and I don't know how the car drove before that because it was first corner, but it felt off, and we were just trying to hang on to a top place finish for some points.
Well, for a car that was driving off, you definitely drove it very, very well. And you obviously continue to lead the points. And we've talked about it before, obviously making consistent runs. but we'll move on next week. I want to look at our schedule and make sure I know where we're going, and so I could talk to you about where we're going next. And Alex, where are we going next?
I want to say it's Knoxville, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is. Dustin, how do you feel about Knoxville?
I like me a big track. Knoxville really depends what gear we're going to be on. The where if we can run the top all the way around or have to run the bottom.
Also, I would just
Knoxville's
like
fun.
to make a quick apology. It's actually I-55. Knoxville's 2
Oh,
weeks
there we
from now.
go. There we go.
I knew it was coming up before Lucas Oil. I had a 50-50 shot. I guessed wrong. That's my bad. I-55 next week.
Hey, well, that is definitely not a big track. It's definitely a short track. And Dustin, you've been pretty good at the short tracks.
Yeah, I like the bull rings. They're pretty fun because you got to learn how to hit the cushion just right. And sometimes tracks like this, like the cut down I was running, you can get a good run under somebody, but just got to be able to have momentum when you throw your slider. But I-55, I'll have to do some work there. I don't run there much, but it's a fun little track.
Well, now the fans will know what you're thinking about that Knoxville and I-55, and it'll only leave Lucas Oil, where we've already been one time before. Dustin, anyone you'd like to thank tonight?
Everybody at DDR, y'all for broadcasting and them for putting this league on. It's fun, and we're just gonna try to keep being consistent these last couple of races. It's gonna be fun to try to get a win, but the points coming down to the final races, you don't want to DNF or anything that hurts the points lead.
Well, hey, consistency, the key mark of a champion, and you've had that so far. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Dustin Hennigan rounds out the podium, and it's he's happy to finish on the podium, but would definitely love to be sitting back in victory lane. It's now 3 races since he has won. It was back at Lucas Oil when we last saw him in victory lane, but he has been consistent since, and it's why he's still leading your overall championship points by before this race over 100 points to James Murphy. And Alex, it's going to be pretty tough for anyone to catch him. But I think if anyone can do it, it's drivers like Murphy, Bass, and Setting, who currently all sit second, third, and fourth. And of course, we didn't even get to mention tonight that Braden Avila was not here.
Yeah, same with both our Week 3 winner and Week 4 winners. We're not here tonight. Josh Dyer also not here tonight. So with that, we've had, after a back-to-back winner to open the season in Dustin Hennigan, we've now hit our 4th different winner in 5 weeks, Scott, and it's very interesting how quickly the narrative of the season, I feel like, has changed a little bit from, oh, this is Hennigan's show to every week you never know who it's going to be. They know they need to get past guys like Setting and Hennigan and Bass if you're going to go out there and actually win the thing. But we had a couple of different horses kind of all up front now, and I think that's pretty neat, but also it's very telling with the consistency that the 16's had that, he is by far and away the favorite right now to win the title with 3 races to go, just because he has had that lethal level of consistency that's kept him up front basically week in, week out.
Well, then we eventually got it figured out. We're going to I-55 next week, and like we heard from Dustin Hennigan, it's going to be a tight bull ring. It'll be tails of 2 very different tracks for the next 2 weeks, I-55 versus Knoxville Speedway. And so I'm very excited about I-55. That's a really great track, and like Dustin Hennigan said, it is small. It is a bull ring, and it's going to be tough for a lot of these drivers. So look for maybe a couple new players to be involved, Alex.
Yeah, I think that should be a ton of fun. Then, of course, 2 weeks from now, we go to Knoxville, one of the biggest tracks that we're going to have on the calendar. And then we'll wrap up with Lucas Oil on the 16th. Only 3 weeks to go to crown a Midwest Modified Series champion here in NLR. It's presented by P1 Sim Sports. It's been a blast of an opening 5 races, Scott. I have no doubt that these last 3 are going to be equally as good.
Well, they're absolutely going to be great. I think they've gotten better as they've gone on. And we said Kokomo was one of our best races, and then we said Huset's was really, really great. And I think Fairbury was really, really great as well. I mean, you could not ask for a better finish, a tighter finish between the top 3. And I think that's a great wrap on the night.
I would be inclined to agree. And, of course, next week we're going to I-55. But that's going to conclude our coverage here tonight from Fairbury. Race 5 in the books here for the Midwest Modified Series. Scott, it's been a pleasure as always. Big shout out again to Dougie Beard as well for providing the cameras. And with that, unless you've got anything else, we can wrap it here from Fairbury Speedway.
I don't, Alex. Appreciate you, our producer and analyst, Alex Gagnon. My name is Scott Shive. We'll see you next week at I-55.